Hi guys, David here, Central Cal Piper, smoking some Mississippi mud in my Merchant Services 4-square pipe. Big pipe, but I like it a lot. Very enjoyable. Had a pretty light workload today. Only had 4 cases. It's been kind of a slow week. Maybe there's a lull in childcare requests for our people coming online for some reason. I'm not sure why, but we'll probably catch up eventually. I mean, people will start applying eventually, and we'll get slammed with a bunch of people. But for this week, it's been fairly nice. The only problem is when you have only 4 cases assigned, you really have to pace yourself. In fact, there's no way you can really pace yourself without running out of things to do. So, I mean, I can't complain. I still get paid, but I hate to not have enough to do. So I end up sitting in my cubicle with my headphones on, watching videos, which life could be a lot worse, but you kind of feel like a slacker. I don't want to go volunteering for any extra assignments because my supervisor, I'm sure that she'd do something harsh if I went to her. I don't go to her often for anything at all. Our working relationship is kind of, I don't know, tenuous. Maybe that's the word. Anyway, low profile. That's me. I stay below the radar in my cubicle as much as I can. It is about 1:20 p.m. here on a Thursday afternoon. It's a beautiful day outside. Breezy, which is great. I have every single window in the house open. I've even got the front door propped open to rid our house of all the smoke that I'm creating. I'm not sure Mississippi mud is the best thing to smoke in the house, but well, got a few hours until my wife comes home, so I think I'm good. Well, I just want to get on today for a few minutes. Oh, eventually, I'm going to smoke this cigar. This is a cigar that SoCal Piper Israel gave to me. This will have to be smoked outside, I'm afraid. So I'm going to get some nice patio time at some point to smoke this. I need to carve out probably about an hour or so, I think. So going to be a special time. Thanks, Israel, SoCal Piper. Appreciate you, man. Anyway, I've been watching a few videos today between casework and gosh, you guys give me a lot of things to think about. I thought I'd get on here today and talk about another job. I don't have much other things going on. Everything's pretty good. Everything's smooth and steady. But I thought it'd be a good chance to talk about jobs. And I kind of want to do a series of these. Not that my jobs are really interesting, but I guess they're a story. They're my story, at least. So I figured, it's fun to talk about. So the first video I did on this a week or so ago was on my paper route. That was the first real job I had, aside from, mowing lawns and all that. My second job came to me when I was about 17 years old. I was a senior at North High School here in Bakersfield, and the paper route had come to an end because they changed to morning delivery, and I didn't really want to get up every morning at 3:30 or so and do newspapers and then go to school. So I started looking for something else. I'd had the job, the paper route for 5 years. I was kind of outgrowing it anyway. My old bike was showing some signs of wear and tear. I'd gone through probably 15 seats in the 5 years that I had the route. Not really, but jeans. The seat would always create places in my jeans that would wear out, So a lot of crotches in my jeans just gave out because of the wear and tear on that bicycle seat. Anyway, that's kind of beside the point. But anyway, so I started looking for another job. And at the time, I looked at the newspaper, but we had this thing at North High School in the library. It was like a little mini career center. Basically, it was a desk with index cards. There were a couple of little boxes, wooden boxes, and they had index cards and categorized for different jobs. So I happened to look at one during my lunch break one time, and it was a local construction company not too far from my home that needed a part-time courier. Well, it said in the description card that they wanted someone with drafting experience, and I didn't know what that had to do with courier work, but I thought, hey, that sounds like me. I had 4 years of drafting, architectural drafting in high school, so I enjoyed that. So I thought I'd respond to the job. So I did. I applied for it, went out, met the guy that was hiring. He hired me. So I just remember the first day on the job, I had a little Yamaha scooter at that time. It wasn't a moped. It had no pedals, but it was a little low-powered Yamaha. That's what it was called. It was blue. And I'd gone through my first car at that time, which was a 1965 Volvo, primer gray. It was a fun little car, but it wasn't dependable. It had a lot of issues. It was purchased originally by my stepdad for $350 at an auction. So then it went to one of my uncles who bought it from him. And when my uncle and aunt split up, my uncle didn't want the car any longer, so he made a deal with my grandma. He was paying her for it. So I would kind of assume the payments, and whatever was left paid for it. So I had that car for a while. It was a fun little car. Got my first ticket in that car for failing to stop. It wasn't for speeding, that's for sure. For failing to stop. About 50 feet from my house. Anyway, so long story short, back to my story. So I rode my Yamaha out to this little trailer on a kind of like a corporate yard type situation. Started my first day. Met all the office staff. Handful of guys, some secretaries. Found out a little about the job. My job would be each day to show up and basically check in to see what they needed me to do. So I'd usually go in about 12:30 or so after I could get home from school. I went directly out there anyway, went to work, and they'd always have a list of things for me to do, such as take the boss's car to get it washed, come back, go to the convenience store, get some orange juice for the workers, deliver, blueprints, pick up blueprints, little things like that. So it was going along fine. I remember one time I was told that I needed to slow down, otherwise I'd work myself out of a job. So I guess at that point learned to kind of take things a little slower, not to rush. Got the feeling that they were just making up things for me to do to keep me busy, which was fine with me, but didn't always feel especially useful. One time I remember getting to work, and my boss said, "Hey, Sport." That's what he called me. His name was Jerry. I was Sport. "I'd like you to take the car out, and I'd like you to go out to an intersection." He gave me an address or a road. So there's a railroad track. I thought, "I'd like you to park by the tracks and count the number of trains that go by in this 2-hour period." So I thought, this is really weird, but I did it. Went out there, and I don't think there was one train that went by the whole day, the whole time I was there. So got that. That's just one example of the things that they would create for me to do. I did a lot of taking cars to car washes, drive the cars, which always smell like cigarettes, because back in 1981, they all smoked in their company cars, seemed like, and the cars always smelled horrible with ashes everywhere. And take the cars, take it to a local car wash, set while the car was washed, take it back, get another one. Anyway, I spent a lot of time doing that. So that's my primary role, just to do whatever they wanted me to do at that job. But I didn't complain. It was a pretty good job for a kid still in high school. The job went along fine. I remember one time, though, they said they wanted me to do some work on some blueprints. So I thought, this would be great. I love blueprints and plans and all that. Well, what they wanted me to do is they wanted to train me to be an estimator, basically a person that looked at a section of road and you figured out the amount of materials they would need to resurface these roads. So did that for a while. Bit of a challenge. I never liked math, so when I went there, I had to relearn. I was a senior in high school, but I didn't take any more math in high school than I needed to graduate. So had to remember all these formulas and all that. So I did that for a while. Um, as summer got closer, they asked me about my plans for school, and I said, well, I want to go to college, probably go to BC for a couple of years, and then go to Cal State Bakersfield, you know. And they were a little disappointed because they wanted someone who was willing to go to a local, well, not local, a college here in California, Cal Poly University, which is in San Luis Obispo, which is about 2.5 hours away from Bakersfield. It's on the coast. It's a great school, but it was an expensive school, especially if you didn't live there. I didn't have family. I would have to go and, you know, have money to live. So I thought about that for a bit, and I told them I just don't think I can do that. I don't have the means to do that. My family, school wasn't really a priority. My mom encouraged me to go to school, but no one in my family had a college degree. I had one uncle, but everyone else, if they made it through high school, they were lucky. So I think my mom really never understood much about school, although she thought it would be a good thing to do to get a good job. But no backing financially whatsoever. So I kind of told them I really probably can't do that. So at that point, things changed. I became less, I guess, desirable as an employee. So they started giving me other menial type jobs, or jobs that were a little more less desirable for me, like parking at an airport, working a shift from 11 p.m. till 7 a.m. Basically as a kind of a safety person that would radio them if anything unexpected happened, like a plane started coming in. So I did that for a couple nights and decided I can't hack this. I couldn't adjust the schedule at that point. I'd never worked that type of job before, and just decided that really wasn't for me. So that was the end of my unillustrious, is that a word, career at Granite Construction. So I told him that I wouldn't be able to do this. And I'll never forget my supervisor's parting words were, well, if you want to dig ditches the rest of your life, that's fine with me. And that kind of hurt me because I kind of saw this guy as a friend, but I thought, well, he really thinks I'm trash. So at that point, we said our goodbyes, and that was it. No more Granite Construction. After a while, I kind of looked back at that job, especially when I graduated from college and I had a hard time getting a job. I thought, man, I should have stuck with that, because I could have making a lot of money now being an estimator, but it wasn't meant to be. So it wasn't. Anyway, that was my second real job, Granite Construction Company. They're still around. I'm still around, doing our own things. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. God bless y'all.